Hello, everybody. This is Hugh, and this is the Cora Somi Substack channel. Welcome. I'm pretty excited about this endeavor. I've always wanted to write, and for many years, I've had a vision of interviewing really remarkable individuals, older people. Now that I'm old myself, it doesn't have to be just older people, people of all ages and backgrounds, religions, races, political persuasions, worldviews, and each each one of us, I believe, has a genius inside and a native intelligence, gifts for ourselves individually, for our families and communities, for the society in general, for the whole evolutionary process of the human race. So sometimes on the outside, someone seems to be a pretty ordinary, normal person living a bit of a humdrum life. But once you listen to the teaching of the inner sage of that individual, there's a story, fascinating story, and it's just waiting to be invited to reveal itself. So hopefully you will, excuse me, tune in with us from time to time or on a regular basis. And I'll be writing some blogs and some little videos of my own, and also having conversations or what I like to call authentic dialogues with interviews with really fascinating people. Um, so there's a bit of a plethora of backgrounds and themes, though I'm always interested in what and when and how the individual might have had a turning point in their life, an epiphany, an insight, a vision of something that really changed the direction of their itinerary and perhaps led them to their career or relationship or um, an understanding, a deeper understanding of themselves and humanity, the cosmos. So I do tend to ask at least one question that might lead in that direction. And otherwise, I like to just let people go with the flow and be spontaneous for the most part and see what happens in the moment, in the zeitgeist, the gestalt of the moment. So we'll see you soon. I will be having a conversation next week with Raja Huli, um, who is Palestinian, lives in Toronto, and has written an amazing book with his Jewish colleague, Jeffrey Wilkinson, and is very, very conversant with the dialogue that is taking place and has been for some time between Jews and Arabs, Israelis, Palestinians, and this great issue of our time. It seems that I remember as a kid of 14 years old, I'd read the newspaper every day. And back then, this was in the news consistently. So it's a subject that has always drawn me, and it really seems to be a kind of an archetypal uh, situation and conflict, but also because it's so difficult and seemingly impossible to resolve at times. By the same token, within my belief system at least, I trust that it holds for us all a teaching and perhaps an initiation in our journey as a community of nations and peoples and ethnic groups and states and societies. So I pay close attention. Sometimes I have dipped in a little bit to the dialogue myself, but it's so easy to get into hot water because it's such a sensitive issue. So currently, I'm sort of not taking a back seat, but perhaps holding the space for others to come together who may have some vision, especially about not being right or wrong or making the other right or wrong, but rather seeing a bigger picture within which we're all one people, one country, mankind as one global citizen, and therefore transcending the dualities and the oppositions uh, that are so prevalent in this time, painfully prevalent. Polarization, division, fear, uh, people running around with very strong opinions, to say the least, and a little bit of a lack of generosity of spirit in being able to even listen to other people's opinions or want to understand. Uh, so, this may be a forum, a little bit of a public town hall within which that kind of philosophy can have a voice of aiming for unity through examining duality, um, that there is a one within each person, a unified field, and there is already oneness within the human species, although a big percentage of that species puts a lot of energy and a lot of time into trying to prove otherwise. It's sort of funny in a way, although it's hard to get a laugh. And I'm not much of a stand up comic, although I have aspirations, maybe on my deathbed. Um, but there is a lot of humor in it when we look at our own, and when we can be honest about our own shortcomings in the indigenous culture. Well, many cultures actually, but being here in North America and Canada, I've spent a lot of time, and in South America as well, with indigenous people, First Nations, or pueblos originarios, as we use the term in South America, the original peoples. But there is an archetype that we often find, official or unofficial, is the trickster, and who is has the office of getting people to laugh at themselves, basically. And if they don't, if they can't, then getting everybody else in the community to laugh at them. And it can be a humbling experience, but a breakthrough, really, when we can admit and acknowledge our huge limitations, while at the same time holding the hope that we have brilliance and genius, and that we're made of stardust, and the whole cosmos is reflected through us. So there again, there's a duality, a parallel truth or reality. But when we can uh, perceive our shortcomings and um, the ridiculous stunts that we get up to, we have to laugh. If not, it's just crying all the time and shaking our fist and violence and things breaking apart. And that's all part of the process too. The falling apart, the breaking apart. It's almost like the old world order has to dissolve, be pulverized, perhaps unpleasantly, before a new form, a new structure can be designed and evolved based on a higher paradigm or a more global paradigm. But so in that process, there are a lot of voices, and I really like to allow people, to. I've been struggling to find my own voice over the years, and it's painful at times. And everyone has a voice, and each person has a different relationship with their voice. Voice meaning the ability to express one's truth. So, I, at this stage of my game, my career, I really love to provide a container or a framework within which people can find a safe place, a listening place, uh, and a stimulating place to express their truth, which is unique. Each person has a different perspective, a different angle on the truth, and that's the beauty of unity in diversity. We can have both. In fact, we need both. It's like the yin and the yang. One without the other just don't work. So to celebrate the diversity while at the same time acknowledging and strengthening the underpinnings of the unity, the underlying unity that's already there. It's just that it's more about accepting it rather than creating it. That's sort of the attitude of some of the Buddhist teachings, that the truth, the beauty, our self-realization is already existent. We just have to allow what is in the way of seeing that and experiencing that oneness and truth to fall off, like the old leaves of the tree in the autumn. And as we go into the second half of September, tomorrow, I believe, or in a couple of days, towards the autumn equinox, we'll get a chance to ruminate on that Mother Nature, who teaches us so beautifully and so simply the archetypes and the sequences and the seasons of the soul and the soul of humanity. And one of the pillars of what I'm trying to do here is the belief that every individual, as well as every nation state on the planet, has not only a personality, but also a soul. Two different entities in a way. However, if they're not aligned between themselves and with a higher power, we could say, a more universal template, then we can go awry very easily and get very upset and not be healthy and happy. So understanding that some of these geopolitical turmoils, tests and tribulations are based on the lack of alignment and coherence between what could be called the personality of a nation and its higher expression or its higher octave, which is the soul or the essence, that this is what emerges in realpolitik, as it's called, where individual nations are grasping and just trying to get whatever they can, come hell or high water, at the expense of their neighbors, doesn't matter. So the same as egoism in the individual human being, nationalism, it's really the same thing. So when our ego can become, and our personality in general, the physical, the etheric, the emotional, the mental, concrete mental plane can all come together within themselves as a unified personality and serve the higher purpose of the soul, then it's going to be pretty nice. And both on the international level, as well as interpersonal and intrapersonal within oneself. So the unity can appear on all levels. And the connection, the horizontal relationships, and then the vertical, which is with one's deeper self and with the divine, or whatever you want to call it. So rather than seeing it as a two-dimensional field, if we could imagine that the potential of our relationships radiates in all directions, not just up and down and left and right, but like a sun, which radiates its light in all directions. Some of it comes into our solar system, and other parts of the light go off into the galaxy and relationship with other solar systems. So just to come back to home base, I'm really happy to be here as a spokesperson, but more important, to enhance the personship of other folks that may come through this little Substack channel. And it's a lot of time and effort to put these together. I'm sort of new at this and I'm not that tech savvy, but it does take some time and effort and even material resources. So you're most welcome to continue as an unpaid, a free subscriber. And also, if you feel a little generous or you like the cut of my jib or the tone of this uh, station on your wayfaring, I would be most happy. And it would mean a lot to me if you could find it in your heart to upgrade to being a paid subscriber. It's not very expensive, a few dollars a month, but it can make a difference. And it also bolsters my confidence a little bit. It's just a little indication from the universe that, oh, maybe this can work. Maybe it's serving a purpose, and encourages me to keep at it. But I'm very stimulated, and I get bored with things pretty easily. I'm always sort of chomping at the bit for a new frontier of research and exploration, which is not always a good characteristic for me. But with this Substack, I notice it's been 5 months now, maybe 6 months almost, and I'm still fully on board and looking forward to continuing and growing. So, with your help and through your listening and watching and comments, of course, you're most welcome to throw in your own ideas, and that contributes to the kind of community aspect of what we're doing here. And there are many great places where you can light alight upon a branch, the bird of discovery. There are websites, there are courses, there are workshops, YouTubes, and this is one of millions. So the fact that you have somehow come here, as have I, and we're meeting in this place, there's a synchronicity there that I honor, and I'm always fascinated by how that happens if we're meant to meet on the path of life, that there's a reason. And that's especially, again, why I would welcome your input, because whenever I meet somebody, I have something to learn from that person. There's a lesson, there's a teaching, and probably I have something to teach as well or to offer. So it's a two-way street. Synchronicity, mutuality, reciprocity, collaboration, oneness, um, discovery together. So, up the mountain, not down the rabbit hole, up the mountain of illumination, seeing a bigger picture from the mountaintop, better view. So, see you soon with the next conversation.